Like these should be bipartisan issues. And I've got some data in here that I'm going to share in a minute where I go back to 2003. So from 2003 to today, we're talking, we've all had our party in the White House. By bringing these bills to the floor today, to committee, we are admitting that this has gone on during 2 different Republican administrations, 2 different Democratic administrations, and that we're fully aware this is a massive problem, and if we can't target waste, fraud, and abuse, we will never be able to deal with our debt and deficit woes. And there is low-hanging fruit here that I hope that we can at least today, maybe not fully. I don't know how these votes are going to play out as we do them in a minute, but sincerely look at the co-sponsorships of this and sincerely recognize that this has been a problem across this town for decades, and we've got to be able to target that. That's a sincere thank you to my Democratic colleagues that are co-sponsoring these, that are putting their neck out as they're in the minority currently. It's always a tough play, as the chairman mentioned earlier, but it is a sincere effort from our part, and I thank the chairman for being able to get this out here. My colleague from Indiana and so many others, General Bergman as well. Like, if we don't fix the process and we don't fix the low-hanging fruit, we'll never be able to get after the major problems of our debt to GDP ratio, which is continuing to climb. So again, thank you for holding this important markup, Chairman, to consider these solutions to reduce improper payments, to root out waste, fraud, and abuse in our federal spending. We've got to be able to come together on this. As our debt continues to skyrocket, we owe it to the American people to steward every dollar as efficiently and effectively as possible for its intended use. And I'm pleased that my Enhancing Improper Payment Accountability Act was included in today's markup. I was proud to introduce this bipartisan legislation alongside my colleague, Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger of Virginia, with whom I've had the opportunity to work on improper payment issues over the last few years. Mr. Chairman, I ask unanimous consent to submit into the record letters and statements of support from various organizations and individuals as part of H.R. 8343. These include Audient Group, BPC Action, Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, LexisNexis Risk Solutions, National Taxpayers Union Foundation, and Taxpayers Protection Alliance.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you. In addition to these groups, this bill is also supported by the Utah Taxpayer Association and the Project on Government Oversight. As my colleagues know, it is critical that Congress and the executive branch address improper payments. Since 2003, as I've just mentioned, the federal government has made $2.7 trillion in improper payments. And in fiscal year FY 2023 alone, 14 federal agencies reported a total of $236 billion in improper payments across 71 government programs. This creates programmatic inefficiencies and ultimately affects the people these programs are intended to help. As Congress has created new programs and federal spending grows, so does the risk of improper payments. Annual improper payments have increased from $106 billion in fiscal year 2013 to $247 billion in fiscal year 2022. That's a 133% increase. To tackle this challenge, ensuring that new federal programs in particular have guardrails and strategies in place to reduce the risk of fraud can help address these increasing rates of improper payments. At times, agencies' internal controls for risk management don't highlight the susceptibility of new programs to significant financial waste, fraud, and abuse. A lack of permanent structural risk management practices for new federal spending programs leaves them even more vulnerable to significant improper payments. To reduce wasteful, fraudulent, and fraudulent spending in new programs, the Enhancing Proper Payment Accountability Act would codify GAO recommendations to designate all new federal spending programs that make more than $100 million in payments annually in the first 3 fiscal years as susceptible to significant improper payments in their initial 4 years of operation. Second, subject these programs to stringent and timely reporting requirements. And third, require that agencies report on anti-fraud controls and fraud risk management efforts in their annual financial reports to Congress. These are very, very simple things that can create a significant impact in finding, again, that low-hanging fruit. The Enhancing Proper Payment, this bill would also address data gaps that currently exist by directing the president's budget, the federal government's ultimate budgetary document that reports on executive branch agency spending, to disclose details on agencies and programs that are non-compliant with reporting requirements. Enacting clear and in-depth reporting standards will allow the federal government to have a more accurate understanding of the problems agencies face in obtaining and relaying improper payment data. All of this would support Congress and federal agencies in working towards preventing the occurrence of improper payments. These are good governance reforms that will increase transparency in agencies. I can't stress enough, this is not a messaging bill. This is actual teeth that has existed for decades, and this would help us root this issue out. I ask colleagues on both sides of the aisle to support this legislation to better steward our taxpayer dollars. And with that, I yield to the gentleman from Georgia, Dr. First.